Hello there. Hello again. I'm Bernie Miklasz, and you've reached The Bernie Show here on STL Sports Central. The Bernie Show, as always, presented by DraftKings. The crown is yours. Please subscribe, hit the like button, leave your comments. You can blast away. It's okay. Say what you want. Also, I do a column each day and a video each day, Monday through Friday here at STL Sports Central. I join Randy Carricker Fridays around 10:30 on his show. And then I also do Cardinal Territory with Katie Wu. I do a lot for KMOX and, of course, Seeing Red podcast with Will Leach once a week. So anyway, I'm a busy man and I love it that way. Now, let's move on to the topic. Why Cardinals chairman Bill DeWitt Jr. coveted Chaim Bloom to take over the baseball operation. Let's get into it. Let me begin with this. The Cardinals are already rebuilding, and they're going to go deeper into that with a more dedicated rebuild objective moving forward, putting into action a plan instead of trying to cover it under piles of word salad in an effort to fool the fan base, which didn't work anyway. That's what the Cardinals tried to do after the 2024 season. At the end of the season, that famous news conference, it kept tossing around words like reset. Then there was runway. Then it was transition. Anything except actually fessing up and saying we're entering a rebuild phase. They just couldn't bring themselves to do it, and it didn't get them anywhere. The fans are staying away. The fans didn't fall for it. And as I've said 100 times now, it's time for the Cardinals to be straight with their fans, even though some fans, maybe a lot of fans, ain't going to like the word rebuild. But I'm fine with it. I'll explain why. Anyway, a rebuild, in other words, and for those of you who say, well, they're not really rebuilding this year, and I don't think many people are saying that, but I've heard some. Well, let's review, shall we? A rebuild would include a decrease in payroll, and the Cardinals have done that, right? A rebuild would mean staying out of the free agent market, and the Cardinals pretty much did that. Although the one free agent they signed, Phil Maton, to a contract was only 1 year, $2 million, turned out to be a great move. But the fact is, as the only major league free agent they signed, a rebuild would come with approaching veterans with expensive no-trade contracts to ask them if they'd like to be traded. That's happened twice in 20. Before the season it happened. And it even happened before this year's deadline with Sonny Gray, Nolan Arenado, and Wilson Contreras. Gray and Contreras did not want to be traded, and Arenado last offseason, as we know, vetoed a trade to the Astros. Let's see. A rebuild would also come up with, okay, what are we going to tell the public and the media? Oh, we're going to emphasize the expanded opportunities that were being given to young players in 2025. Yeah, that's it. That's the pitch. They made it. Okay, and to an extent, it's true, but that's not really the whole point. The point is they started their rebuilding in 2025. Because if you're not rebuilding in 2025, you would be adding veteran, established talent to your roster. They did not do that. A rebuild would include a substantial project below the major leagues, bringing in new leadership and his team of assistants to renovate the Cardinals' outdated player development operation and a minor league operation that needed all kinds of rehab work. So the Cardinals, in this part of their rebuild, step one really, made a significant investment in hiring more coaches and instructors, upgrading technology, and improving facilities down on the farm. And Chaim Bloom was the guy, as we know, recruited to run this massive reconstruction. And it was a great choice because Bloom is very smart. This fits with his background, and he hired other very smart people to join him in saving the Cardinals from themselves by restoring what had been their pride and joy going back to the George Kissel years. Drafting, signing, or otherwise cultivating young players, especially starting pitchers, to develop at a very high level. And the Cardinals are already making some progress in this Bloom-led initiative. I think the farm system's looking a lot better already. So the next step in a rebuild that they haven't called a rebuild, but it is a rebuild. So the next step, Bloom taking over as the Cardinals president of baseball operations when John Mozeliak officially steps down. The rebuild will go to the next level under Bloom, who was hired for this very purpose. and he is the right person for the job. I will get into this when I return for my second and final segment of today's Bernie Show. But before that, it's DraftKings time. Listen, if you haven't played the DraftKings Pick 6 fantasy game, the daily fantasy game, you haven't done that yet, jump on in. It's time. It's time to do it, and you have time to explore and learn how to play it and learn what to do and come to enjoy the baseball season in the final weeks. And we got the opening of the NFL and college football season right around the corner. Hockey soon after that, NBA. The cycle keeps going, man. It's a good time for you to get involved with DraftKings Pick 6 Daily Fantasy. If you're a new customer, DraftKings going to give you some bonus dollars to make picks when you sign up. More on that here and later. DraftKings Pick 6 makes it really easy and simple to get started. So put your baseball brain to work. Get that IQ going. Go for the cash. Just download the easy-to-use Pick 6 app from DraftKings. Boy, it is well organized. It'll actually help you do some scouting before you make your picks. Anyway, download that easy-to-use Pick 6 app from DraftKings. Get started on making your selections. Each day, DraftKings sets a stat line for dozens of major league hitters or pitchers for their next game, and DraftKings provides recent trends for players or pitchers that you're considering. Just click on the player's profile. So the homework has been done for you, a lot of it, most of it, and it's up to you after that. Pick 6 is available here in Missouri. There's nothing to hold you back, no limits. I enjoy playing DraftKings Pick 6 fantasy, and I'm pretty confident you will too. You'll like it. Don't settle for smaller payouts at other places. No. No way. You deserve better than that. So switch to DraftKings Pick 6, and you will be at the right place at the right time, and you will be in position to win the cash. Right now, new customers can get $25 in pick bonuses with their first deposit of $5. So download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use the code STL Sports. That's code STL Sports for new customers to get $25 in bonus picks with their first deposit of $5. Better payouts, bigger wins, only with Pick 6 from DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 and over. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. One per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
All right, welcome back to the second segment of this Bernie Show here on Thursday, August the 14th on STL Sports Central. Let's get back to the topic of the day, rebuilding. Bill DeWitt has owned the Cardinals for 30 seasons, and in this day and age, it's really uncommon for any team to go 30 years or just about without even giving any serious thought to rebuilding, but that time has come for the Cardinals. Now, I know the payroll obsessives will have a fit, the tantrums will come, but these based on my history of reading their arguments or whatever, these folks they can't shake the payroll thing. They'll only use payroll size to make their judgments. It's quick, it's easy, and it doesn't require much thought. And of course, the payroll obsessives don't seem to remember, or maybe choose not to remember, when the Cardinals won the World Series in 2006, they had the 10th payroll. When they won the World Series in 2011, they had the 11th payroll. When they won the NL pennant in 2013, they had the 12th payroll. When he won 100 games in 2015, they had a 14th payroll. I mean, Bill DeWitt way early on would have some top 10 payrolls, but he's pretty much settled into an area, and this payroll will go up over time, but it's not going to be anytime soon because altogether now they are rebuilding. Personally, I'm fine with rebuilding for three primary reasons. Number one, it is necessary and it is overdue, unless, of course, you want to see this organization just kind of putter along like they have been, pretending to contend, but sinking deeper into mediocrity in the process. Do you want that? Well, if you're a Cardinals fan, I don't know why you would want that. But hey, if that's what you want, great. Maybe they'll keep Mo and have him throw some more money around on mid-level free agents that don't move the needle, if that's what you want. Anyway, number two, and I'm being a smartass, forgive me. Number two, at the major league level, the Cardinals have a severe shortage of high-end talent. And I'm sorry, trying to convince yourself, for example, that Brendan Donovan is an elite player is exactly one of the reasons why the Cardinals got into this jam to begin with. And I'm going to say it again. They overrate their own players and have been doing it for years. And a lot of the people in the media go along with it. When are we going to learn? Do not overrate your own players. Brendan Donovan's a fine player. He's a good player. This is nothing against him. They don't have an elite player, in my opinion. Sonny Gray can be elite in any given start, and he's pretty damn good, but elite, high end, I don't think so. But if some of you say, yeah, he is, okay, whatever. Not going to fight you on that one. Number three, the Cardinals hired the right guy to oversee this project. With his front office background and his player development background and handling payroll background, a lot of other things, with Tampa Bay and Boston, Bloom's most substantial and established skill is drafting and development, which is exactly what the Cardinals need at this point. They need to get back to what they used to do so well. The reason they have slid into mediocrity is because they stopped doing it well. It isn't because of payroll. It's because of the smarts, and it's because of knowing what your roots are, drafting and development, and they let that slide. And that's why they've been in this spot for the last 3 years. All right. The Tampa Bay model is all about the draft, the development, international signings, making excellent use of analytics. Oh, there's that dirty word. Stop it. And also making smart spending decisions. By the way, analytics are fine. It's just like any other thing. The modern world, things evolve. Analytics just means information. Analytics just means if you have a lot of it and your people know how to assimilate it, it can really help you. It's not a plague. It's not any kind of virus into your system. It's good stuff if you use it properly. The Rays regularly manage to do better than many teams that spend a lot more on payroll than they do. Despite competing in the high-spending powerhouse district of the American League East, where everybody spends money, except for the Orioles, the Rays have made the playoffs 9 times, winning 2 American League pennants, and never had an annual payroll ranked higher than 25th in those years that they made the playoffs. Tampa Bay made the postseason 3 times when they ranked 28th, 29th, or 30th in the payroll. The classic Rays season came in 2019 when they won 96 games and they had the 30th payroll, the lowest payroll in the majors. And when I say, well, they've made the playoffs 9 times since 2008, I kind of know what's coming. So, well, where's our World Series trophy? Well, you got to get to the World Series to win a trophy. And if we go back to 2008, the Rays and the St. Louis Cardinals, who have spent a lot more money than the Rays, they both have the same number of pennants in their league. Cardinals 2, Rays 2, starting in 2008, which is when the Rays started to get their little machine going, right? You don't disparage them for not winning a World Series. This team shouldn't even be competitive with how little their payroll dollars are. But they're really, really smart. And I'll tell you another thing. In time, Chaim Bloom will have a lot more money to work with here in St. Louis, but it's not going to happen now, not in a rebuild. See, Chaim Bloom was born and raised in the Tampa Bay system. It's in his DNA. In time, Bloom will have that higher payroll to work with in St. Louis, but not right away. Again, because a rebuild is happening and it will not be a fast and furious process. A drop in attendance won't cause the Cardinals to say, oh, forget this rebuild. Let's go play. Let's go spend some stupid money. Let's go. They're not going to change their minds. They're set on this course, and I, for one, appreciate that. There's no point in them flinging stupid money around for mid-level roster additions. And Bill DeWitt's never going to spend and throw down and match the Dodgers or the Mets, the Yankees, even the Cubs, the Houston, Atlanta. Who else did I leave out? Philly. You know why? Because he never has. So why would you expect him to do that now? That's why you need strong player development. But by the way, you think that the very best free agents, even if the Cardinals offer top somebody else's offer by a little bit, like some dude wants to play in LA, you think he's going to come here at this point in time? You think that? This ain't baseball heaven anymore. Have you noticed? Not a destination place at this moment in time. That's what Chaim Bloom has got to do. He's got to turn it back into a destination place. So people always assume a free agent will want to come here if he's got 3 or 4 other offers that might be based in places he'd rather be. Anyway, I would even make this point. Let me say this. If the Cardinals were going to do more of the dumb stuff we've seen around here, they wouldn't have hired Chaim Bloom. I wouldn't even make this point. If the attendance does go down in 2026 and again in 2027, it actually makes it easier for the Cardinals to continue to rebuild, because the drop in revenue will make a rebuild more sensible and the way to go. The less you spend, I should say the less revenue you have, the less you're going to spend. And that's all the reason why it's a really good time to rebuild, because the fans have turned already, and I don't blame them. But this is a good time to do it. Take your medicine and do it. You're not going to raise payroll in a rebuild, because the whole point of a rebuild is not to waste money. It's to do what you got to do at the minor league and player development level, and then build up a younger foundation of talent. And then we can talk about adding to it later. You don't go into a rebuild only to make idiotic signings that defeat the purpose of rebuilding. And at a time like this for the Cardinals and their baseball experience and the fans' experience and everything else, Bloom's experience in Boston fits the objective. He was hired by Boston's mercurial owner, John Henry, with a clear number one objective: rebuild a broken draft and player development system in Boston. Let's make our payroll more efficient. Let's quit throwing so much money around when we're not getting the results. And Bloom, hired after the 2019 season, did what he was hired to do. In other words, the Red Sox pivoted after winning the World Series in 2018, and Dave Dombrowski was kind of eased out the door. And because John Henry, the owner, was all hung up. Listen, I know we won a World Series, and that's great, but we've just got to try to do this a different way, because we can't keep trying to buy pennants and World Series every year. We got to have a more efficient model. That's why they brought Bloom in. And I really chuckle at the Nimrods who continue to blame Bloom for trading Mookie Betts. He had no choice. The owner demanded it after Betts rejected a below-market contract extension offer, as he should have, and Mookie's agent let it be known, "My client plans to explore free agency," which was basically saying, you better trade us. Not only did Bloom have to deal Betts under owner's orders, he was also given an extra assignment with that trade. When the Dodgers reached out to talk about the Betts trade, Chaim Bloom told the Dodgers, no deal, nada, unless you also agree to take on the declining pitcher David Price, who we don't want anymore, and his guaranteed $48 million that remain on the contract. So it isn't just that John Henry said, hey, trade Mookie Betts, damn it. He also said, and get them to take on David Price and get that money off the books. That's what Bloom did. And he didn't get a good return on Betts. And if you want to criticize him for that, go ahead. I don't care, because I know what happened. But let me ask you a question. How the hell would you expect him to maximize a trade return at a time where he also had to make the team he was trading with eat the money that came attached to David Price? Let me read you something written by Baseball Prospectus after Bloom was fired by the Red Sox in the 2023 season near the end. And this explains a lot of the strange agenda. Let me read it to you. Quote, Bloom was asked to remain competitive, improve the drafting and development pipeline, and reduce expenses by trading Mookie Betts. Baseball Prospectus continued, quote, that's akin to asking a doctor to increase blood flow to the extremities in a patient who just had their still beating heart removed. very creative writing. I like it. The other strange thing about Bloom's entry into Boston, he wasn't allowed to bring in his own people. He inherited some influential operators inside that Boston administration who were loyal to Dave Dombrowski. What a mess. Looking back on it, Bloom made a mistake by taking the job on those terms, but I also understand he was ready to run a baseball team. And the Boston Red Sox are a prestigious franchise. And if he had rejected the Boston offer, then what? Yeah, he would have gotten another offer. In fact, he got a really good offer about a year and a half ago or thereabouts. A year ago when Bill DeWitt said, listen, we want you to take over. But if he had rejected the Boston offer, geez, you never can tell what would have happened. Listen, when a young and upcoming executive really wants to land a prestigious job in Major League Baseball, I understand his compulsion. Anyway, Bloom was able to accomplish much of what ownership wanted in Boston. That's the thing I don't understand about some of these things that have been said and written, because people all they look at is, oh, Mookie Betts, as if he just up and did that on his own. Oh yeah, and by the way, people who run baseball teams, they have bosses, okay? All 30 franchises, because I can hear some of the stuff now. Oh, okay. DeWitt hired a puppet. Bill DeWitt's been involved in every baseball decision the Cardinals have ever made since he became the owner, and every single damn GM or president of baseball operations must answer to the owner and must do what the owner wants him to do, okay? Okay, big world out there. Anyway, he did most of what they told him they wanted in Boston. The Red Sox got under the luxury tax threshold in 3 of Bloom's 4 seasons. In his first season, the Red Sox ranked 4th in payroll, and they missed the playoffs. By the time he was asked to leave, the Boston payroll under Bloom in 2023 ranked 12th. So he got that payroll down. Based on projections, and that's what they wanted. That's what he was told to do. Based on projections, the Red Sox had a couple of disappointing seasons under Bloom. I'm talking about the preseason projections, but nothing drastic. And the 2021 team exceeded the projections by winning. By the way, they were Baseball Prospectus projected 80 wins for the Red Sox in 2021. They won 92 games. They beat the Yankees in the wild card game. They won a division round against the Rays. And they got as far as Game 6 of the ALCS before losing to a great Houston team. The most impressive part about Bloom's time in Boston was the revival of the Red Sox player development system, which was the number one objective he was given by ownership. In short, the Red Sox had a bottom 5 ranking when he arrived in 2020, before 2020, and a number 10 ranking when he got sacked. But the players drafted by Bloom, who are still there or have been traded to improve the Red Sox in the moment, but players selected by Bloom formed the nucleus of a player development system that was ranked number 1 by Baseball America going into the 2025 season. Baseball Prospectus had the Red Sox, when Bloom took over, as the worst farm system in baseball. By the time he left, they were 10th, and then soon after he left, they made it all the way up to number 1 with a lot of players that he brought in. You got starting pitcher Brian Bello, drafted by Bloom. He's an effective piece in Boston's rotation. Prospects drafted by Bloom include catcher Kyle Teal. He was part of a deal for the White Sox that got the Red Sox Garrett Crotchet, that excellent starting pitcher. Red Sox starting catcher Connor Wong was acquired in the Betts trade. A key reliever, Garrett Whitlock, was chosen by Bloom in a Rule 5 draft. Bloom hit it real big on several draft picks. Outfielder Roman Anthony, shortstop Marcelo Meyer, and second baseman Christian Campbell. Campbell was Baseball America's 2024 Minor League Player of the Year, and earlier this season, the Red Sox gave him an 8-year, $60 million contract that can reach $100 million if the 2 team options are picked up. Marcelo Meyer was Baseball America's number 10 overall prospect when the Red Sox promoted him earlier this season. In fact, I think he made it up into the top 5. Roman Anthony was drafted by Bloom in the 2nd round. He was Baseball America's number 1 prospect in 2024 and was right up there again as 2025 opened. And the Red Sox promoted Anthony to the majors earlier this season, and he was so impressive They signed him to an 8-year, $130 million contract extension. So 2 years after the Red Sox scapegoated Bloom to cover for the owner's meddling and volatility and impatience, his impact remains on a Boston team that's right now 10 games over 500, holding a wild card spot, and his graduates have helped the Red Sox go 23-11 since the 4th of July. See, this is what the Cardinals need, a team that doesn't have high-end talent, that's not going to go against the Dodgers and Mets in bidding for free agents. They need to develop its own high-end talent. And then you can add, you can maybe make one of those Bill DeWitt special trades, like when they got Goldie for nothing, right? Or Arenado at the time for nothing. Bill DeWitt's not going to outbid all the big boys because he never has. So again, why would we expect that now? So you have to develop your own players to be your foundation. And the Cardinals have to return to their player development roots. And Bloom's changes are already helping. The Cardinals, for example, have had a philosophical change. They're now targeting a different kind of pitcher in the draft, guys with a lot of swing and miss and power. That's an overdue change. The Cardinals, I noticed, like Baseball America talks about their farm system, says they have some really good left-handed pitching, but they don't have enough right-handed pitching. The Cardinals drafted, at the trade deadline and also in the draft, they brought in several right-handed pitchers that have power that they think can turn into something. You got to address the problem by bringing those kind of people in. You're not going to hit the jackpot on every single one of them. Anyway, the Cardinals were 20th in Baseball America's farm system rankings in 2024. They moved up to 18th in the rankings before the start of this season. And in the farm system update that was published earlier this week by Baseball America, which is the Bible for this stuff, the Cardinals are now 14th overall, and Baseball America had a lot of good things to say about the progress they're making. So if you're going to rebuild, you got to rebuild with the right guy leading the project. And given his background, I totally believe that Chaim Bloom was an excellent choice. And I'm looking forward to see how he's going to go all about this the next, I don't know how many years, 2, 3, 4 years. To me, that's more exciting than sitting back and watching dull, mediocre baseball that's just going to go on and on and on. Thank you for listening. I'm sorry that I was obnoxious in some parts. I can't help myself. The boy just can't help it. That's all for today, and I hope you all have a good rest of your Thursday. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back tomorrow with another Bernie Show video presented by DraftKings. The crown is yours. Thank you.